Welcome to at work. I'm glad that you are able to join me, and I'm going to get started very soon. Give people a few minutes to hop in. Sorry about the dog barking. I'm just also going to share um, in my group and on my page. And today we're going to be talking about reading comprehension. And honestly, I think that sometimes we skip over reading comprehension when it is time for us to do word problems. We just think that all we need is the numbers, and that will give us what we need to answer the question. But we gotta really understand what's going on. Let me zoom in some. Okay, good. We gotta really understand what is going on in the question. We got to understand what is being said. We got to understand what is being asked of us so that we can answer the question. Sorry, let me. Hey, Reggie, thanks for hopping on. And so that's what we're going to do today. So today is day 2 of the Champs at Word Problems Challenge. And today, what we're going to be doing with our word problem is this line right here where it says read, reread, think, rewrite. I'm going to do those for every word problem so that you are able to break down what it's saying, let it come to life in your head, put yourself in the position so that you can actually know what's going on and answer the question. Find the problem and answer the question. Because it's a math problem. A math problem, like it's really a problem. There's a problem in this question, so that you need to zero in on the problem and solve the problem. So let's check out what each of the words mean for us in answering math problems. So for read, we are going to read the question slowly to become familiar with the situation. Number 2 is reread. So we're going to read again slowly to point out specific details that may be needed for answering the question. And actually, you may not even get it the second time. You may need to read it 3 or 4 times to get some real flow in understanding the question. Here's another tactic you can use. Think. Let the scenario in the question play out in your mind. See yourself in that person's position, living it out with all your senses. Manipulate the numbers in your mind, placing them where they should go. Okay? So now the situation is getting personal. You're going to be in it. You're going to be manipulating numbers around. Hello, Brian. You're going to be really trying to see it with your mind's eye so that you can figure out the problem and solve it. Hello, Marlo. Then there's number 4. Number 4 is a little long, but has some sub steps in it. So it says, after visualizing the scenario from your mind's eye, you're going to rewrite the question in your own words and in a way that makes sense to you. Use as much detail as possible, even making it into a story. You can even give people and items different names and titles. So you're going to rewrite it using your own words, because usually it's something that the question is written in a scenario that you may not have experienced before, or it may be at a higher reading level than what you're used to reading every day. So you want to write the question in your own words so that when you say it, it makes sense to you. Now you got to do the thinking and the rereading and all that other stuff before you can get it to a point where you understand it. You may understand it off the bat when you first read it. You may need a little bit of um, manipulating and massaging in your brain with the words and the placement of the words and things like that. Number 2 says each blank space represents a number, but you don't need numbers for this activity. So you're going to see I have a couple practice problems. You're going to see that none of these questions have numbers in them. Why? Because numbers are a distractor. Numbers are a distractor to what you're trying to do, trying to understand the situation. You don't need a number to understand the situation. Now, when it's time to answer the question, you can replace the numbers. And tomorrow you're going to get the same questions, but with numbers in them. And then you'll be prepared to answer the question because you already know the situation. All you need to do is plug in some numbers and start calculating and solving. Number 3 says refer to your pre-algebraic translation guide to understand and translate between math language and English. Okay, so once again, you don't need numbers to do this, but you do need to be able to translate between verbal expressions and algebraic expressions. So let's look at our translation guide again. And yesterday had from, and this is the actual table where I have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and equal. So remember, the price increased by $1. You're going to see something like that in one of the questions. Maybe not the question today, but a question that you're going to come across while doing your math practice. How about deducted $17 from my account? Um, the rice was shared equally among the four. Shared equally. That's a division word or a division phrase. And if you see shared equally in one of your math problem questions, then you're going to have to realize that, oh, this is division. I'm going to need to divide at some point when I'm answering this question. Okay. And here are the others: multiplication. You got 60 miles per hour. Per is a multiplication word. Equal. How about 6 times 2 is the same as 3 times 4. So is the same as is an equal phrase. You're using an equal, or even is. Is usually the most common word that comes up when you need to input an equal sign. So is 11 times a number is 44. Okay? Okay. So also, guys, thank you for hopping on. I see you hopping in and out. Please share to family and anybody who you think needs to hear this information. So number 4, the last thing, says to include drawings and diagrams to help you bring to life the scenario described in the word problem. So you brought it to life in your head. Now you want to take what's in your head and put it on paper so you can actually see it, and maybe even make some changes because maybe it was in your head and it wasn't really super duper clear what it should be. So when you put it on paper, you're able to see it, make some changes, make some notes, and things like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is practice. I have this space here. If you signed up, you already have this in your email. And I have this space here so that you can use it over and over again. If you want to print it out for any word problems that you're dealing with, trying to solve on your own. And I have other word problems. I have 6 in this activity that you can practice with the space for you to type, write, draw, anything you need to do. You can print this out. And it's good for teachers too to use it with your kids and your students. But I didn't make this specifically for teachers. I made it for you, students. So I worked on a few, and I was going to share with you how I did the 4 steps: the read, reread, think, rewrite, um, and mainly the rewrite part, probably the think part too. Okay, I'm able to show you those 2 things. So I'll read it. It says, number 1 says, gas prices dropped, and Andrew is so happy that the new amount of money he needs to fill up his blank gallon gas tank. So remember, blanks are numbers. There's supposed to be numbers right there. So something, a number represents how many gallons are in his gas tank. So I'm just going to say blank. If he used to spend blank to fill his tank from empty, and he's now spending blank, so dollars, to fill his tank from empty, how much did gas cost per gallon before and now? How much did it decrease per gallon by now? Okay, so one thing I want to point out is that I've seen a bunch of operation words, algebraic words, that are translating into English, verbal language. So that's what we're going to have to factor in when we're doing the problem. Let me read it again. Gas prices dropped, and Andre is so happy with the new amount of money he needs to fill up his blank gallon gas tank. See, that was a little smoother anyway, right? Sometimes when you read it the first time, it's like kind of putting stuff together, putting words together. When you read it the second time, you're more familiar and it goes smoother. I know that's how it is with me. Even doing word problems all the time, I still, need to read it again. If he used to spend blank dollars to fill his tank from empty, and he's now spending blank dollars to fill his tank from empty, how much did gas cost per gallon before and now? How much did it decrease by per gallon by, how much did he decrease per gallon by? All right. So I think I found the problem. The problem in this question says if he used to spend blank dollars to fill his tank from empty, and now he spends blank dollars to fill his tank from empty. So a used to and a now. Used to spend a certain amount, he now spends less, right? Because it says prices dropped. What kind of word is dropped? Dropped is a subtraction word. Start here, you drop, you go down. So prices dropped. So if prices dropped, then that means that he used to spend a high amount. Now he spends a low amount. So I'm thinking right now. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this question. Trying to reason to make sense of it. So he used to spend a certain amount. Now he spends less. His gas tank is a certain amount of gallons. And it says to fill up his tank, he's now spending a certain amount of money to fill up his tank from empty. How much did gas cost per gallon before and now? Per gallon. So we already know how much he spent total when he went to the gas station to fill his tank up from empty. Shouldn't be letting your tank get to empty, by the way. I've had some bad experiences doing that. But Andre needs to fill his tank up from empty. He used to spend a lot, and now he spends a little. And the numbers that we're given when we finally get the numbers are going to give us how much money the gas tank attendant charged his cart at that time. But we want to find out how much money he spent per gallon. Per gallon, not per tank. Per gallon. Okay? All right. So I'm going to read you what I wrote. These are my notes. I rewrote the question, and actually I made this question up, and I still was able to rewrite it. And I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I still was able to rewrite it in a more simpler way. And so it says, Andre is spending less on gas for his car. He's spending less. That's what I interpreted from this question. He's spending less. He used to spend a certain amount to fill up his tank. Now he spends a newer, cheaper amount. Knowing how much gasoline his tank can hold, how much and how much he spent before and now to fill up his tank will allow me to find out how much he spent per gallon then and now. Thanks for the thumbs up. So, oh, hey, bye, and it's Yolanda. So, that's my interpretation of this question, my way of saying it, and I drew a diagram. Here's a diagram. So that's my gas tank. I drew it big enough to be able to draw lines in it because the lines represent each gallon of gas. Now, I have like a certain amount of a certain amount of lines which represent gallons, but I don't know really how many gallons are in his tank. Why? Because it's blank, it's left blank. So what I put on one side of this gas tank is he used to pay a lot. And the other side is he now pays less. So both of these sides supposed to represent numbers. Let me show you again. He used to pay a lot, now he pays less. See the brackets? Okay. Now I'm going to basically interpret what I wrote in this diagram, like what it means to me. Why did I write it this way or draw it this way? Hey, Mr. Akil. So I wrote each line represents a gallon the tank can hold. I don't know how many though, and I wrote that down. Don't know how many. The amounts he paid will be divided by the amount of gallons in the tank to find the amount per gallon. Okay? So once again, here's the diagram. Over here is the total amount he used to pay, the high amount for all of these gallons. Now, like I said, I don't know how many gallons. I have like 7 lines or 10 lines or something like that. Not sure though if that's the right amount, but I'm just giving myself something to work with until I get the right number tomorrow. And once again, this is the total amount he paid for the whole tank, but how much did he pay per gallon, which represents the lines? Now the lines tell you that you need to divide your total amount into little gallons, and that's going to give you how much he paid per gallon. Now that's what he used to pay, and then you got to find out what he used to pay per gallon. Then you got to find out what he now pays per gallon when you get the numbers tomorrow, because the numbers are going to be filled in tomorrow in these 2 blank spaces here and here. Okay, that's it. When you get the numbers tomorrow, you'll be fine. You'll be straight. You can go ahead and answer the question. Okay, we're moving on. Like I said, we're not answering this question. We're just making sense of it and interpreting it. So number 2, scroll down some. Number 2. Ready? Is your mind ready? We're not talking about Andre, talking about Anita. On the last day of summer camp, Anita wants to treat her cabin to popsicles. Nice. There are blank girls in her cabin. Remember, blanks represent numbers. So This is going to give you an amount of girls in her cabin. At the camp store, Anita can buy a pack of blank popsicles for blank. So we're talking about buying. Let me just read the question. What will it cost her to buy popsicles for her entire cabin? Okay, so let's read it again. On the last day of camp, Anita wants to treat her cabin to popsicles. There are blank girls in her cabin. At the camp store, Anita can buy a pack of blank popsicles. So that's an amount of popsicles for blank. That's going to be dollars because we're talking about buying. A pack usually has more than one in it, right? For a pack of blank for blank. So a pack of a certain amount of popsicles for a certain amount of money. What will it cost her to buy popsicles for her entire cabin, meaning all the girls? We're going to find out what all the girls are, how many girls there are tomorrow. However, now we have a blank. So I rewrote the question. I said, Anita wants to treat her cabin friends to popsicles. A little bit different than what it was written originally in this question. The camp store sells popsicles in a pack of a certain amount. We don't know. I need to find out how much money she needs to spend and how many packs she needs to buy for all her cabin friends. That's what we need to do. That's what I interpreted. I kind of changed the question into what I need to do. What I need to do and how I need to go about doing that. So I just drew a little diagram, a little picture. So that's the cabin. Got all her friends in it. And then here's the store. Cabin store. I don't know if this is backwards or not. Cabin store. And then there is the pack of popsicles. Popsicles, it says money for a number. So basically, I have dollar signs, meaning there's a certain amount that she's going to pay for a number of popsicles. We don't know how many. And that's it. She needs to figure out how many of those she needs to buy in order to satisfy or in order to treat all of her friends. So that's all that I have so far. When I get the numbers, I'll be able to do what I said I needed to do in my rewriting of the question and kind of, like I said, visualize and expound on my picture that I drew. This is a picture that I drew to just kind of get it out of my head and make sure that I'm able to understand what's going on, because that's what the purpose of this activity is for. Understand what's going on. Okay? So there are 6 questions on this activity worksheet. It's kind of like a packet, but I'm not calling it a packet. But there's 6 questions. I did 2 of them, and you can do the rest. So sign up for the challenge. You will get this on the 3rd day. And actually, I'm going to be kind of moving the days up since we're on the 3rd day and you're watching now. You probably want to sign up and get this like sooner than 3 days from now. You'll get it like an hour apart. You'll get the first email, the second email. I have like an intro email. Then I have the first email is the first day. You'll get that right after. And then the second day is you'll get an hour later, and the 3rd day you'll get an hour later. So you get them all today. You just get them an hour apart. Okay. All right. Now I'll give you a little bit of time to work on. Start from day 1. Because day 1 is the of pre-algebra translations. Go on and just making this exciting for me to do. I like doing this. This is fun. And I hope it's beneficial for you as well. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 3 when we are going to do more with these questions. All right, good one. Bye.